The evening had started like any other. I was in the kitchen, humming to myself as I prepared dinner, the rich aroma of garlic and rosemary filling the air. The warmth of our cozy apartment wrapped around me, a comforting embrace of familiarity. The clinking of cutlery, the gentle bubbling of the sauce on the stove, it all felt so normal. But then, my phone buzzed. I wiped my hands on my apron and reached for it, smiling at the thought of a sweet message from Adam, my husband of 7 years. Maybe he was stuck in traffic. Maybe he was just checking in. I tapped the screen and saw his name at the top of the screen. Then, my world stopped. The message was cold, clinical. I can't do this anymore. I want a divorce. I stared at the screen, my breath caught in my throat. 100 thoughts collided in my mind all at once. Was this a joke? A mistake? My hands trembled as I typed back. What? Adam, what are you talking about? No response. The room around me seemed to blur, the sounds of the sizzling pan and the ticking clock fading into the background. My heart pounded against my ribcage, and a wave of nausea washed over me. This wasn't real. It couldn't be. I tried calling him. The dial tone rang and rang, but he never picked up. My fingers tightened around my phone, desperate for some explanation. The man I had loved, the man I had built a life with, was ending it all with a text. A part of me refused to believe it. Maybe something was wrong. Maybe he was in trouble. Maybe this wasn't what it seemed. I scrolled through our last messages. Just that morning, he had sent a casual "love you, see you later." There was no fight, no warning, no indication that anything was wrong. But now? Silence. I paced around the apartment, my mind spinning in a chaotic whirlwind. Should I drive to his office? Call his friends? His family? My chest tightened as I imagined all the worst possibilities. Had he met someone else? Had he been hiding something from me? Hours passed, and my mind refused to rest. I called him again. Straight to voicemail. I texted. No reply. My stomach churned, the untouched dinner on the table growing cold. Finally, at midnight, another message arrived. I'm sorry, but I've made up my mind. I'll send someone to get my things. Please don't call. Just like that, my marriage had crumbled into nothing but words on a screen. Tears blurred my vision as I sank onto the couch, gripping my phone like it was a lifeline to a past that no longer existed. I read the words over and over again, hoping to find some hidden meaning, some loophole that meant this wasn't real. But it was real. And it was only the beginning of the nightmare. The next morning, I woke up on the couch, my body stiff from a night of restless sleep. My phone was still clutched in my hand, Adam's last message glowing like a cruel reminder. A part of me still expected to wake up from this, to find him in the kitchen making coffee like he always did. But the apartment was eerily silent. I checked my phone again. No new messages. No missed calls. Just the deafening emptiness of abandonment. Determined to find answers, I dialed his number once more. Straight to voicemail. Frustration burned in my chest. How could he just vanish? With shaking hands, I threw on a jacket and grabbed my keys. If he wasn't going to answer, I would go to him. His office was only a short drive away, and I needed to see him, to look him in the eyes and demand an explanation. The drive felt longer than usual. Every red light, every turn, every slow-moving car felt like an unbearable delay. When I finally pulled up to his office building, my heart pounded so hard it was almost painful. I stepped out of the car, took a deep breath, and marched toward the entrance. Inside, the receptionist greeted me with a polite but wary smile. "Can I help you?" "I'm looking for Adam Carter," I said, forcing my voice to stay steady. Her expression changed. A flicker of something. Pity? Hesitation? "I'm sorry, but Adam no longer works here." The floor seemed to tilt beneath me. "What? Since when?" She shifted uncomfortably. "He resigned 3 weeks ago. Didn't he tell you?" 3 weeks. 3 weeks? My mind raced, trying to piece together the timeline. He had been planning this for weeks? Lying to me every single day? A sick feeling crawled up my spine. What else had he been hiding? I stumbled back toward the exit, my legs moving on autopilot. I needed air. I needed answers. But most of all, I needed to know who the man I married really was, because the Adam I thought I knew had disappeared long before that text arrived. I sat in my car, gripping the steering wheel so tightly that my knuckles turned white. The pieces weren't adding up. Adam had been lying to me for weeks. But why? What could he possibly be hiding that would make him abandon everything we had built together? A sudden thought jolted through me. If he hadn't been at work for 3 weeks, then where had he been going every morning? I pulled out my phone and scrolled through our shared location history. Adam had always been careless with technology. He never turned off his tracking settings. My breath hitched when I saw the pattern. Every day, instead of heading to the office, he had been traveling to a small, unfamiliar neighborhood on the other side of town. I swallowed hard, dread creeping up my spine. Was it another woman? A secret life? There was only one way to find out. I put the car in gear and followed the trail Adam had left behind. As I navigated the unfamiliar streets, my heart pounded in my chest, a mix of fear and desperation coursing through my veins. Finally, I reached my destination, a modest, unassuming house tucked away in a quiet cul-de-sac. I parked across the street and watched the house for any sign of him. The curtains were drawn, and the place looked deserted. But I knew better than to leave without checking. Summoning every ounce of courage, I stepped out of the car and approached the door. My hands trembled as I knocked. No answer. I knocked again, louder this time. My pulse thundered in my ears. Then, just as I was about to turn away, the door creaked open. And standing there, staring back at me, was Adam. But the look in his eyes sent ice through my veins. Something was very, very wrong. Adam stood in the doorway, his face pale, his eyes dark hollows of exhaustion. He looked like a man who had been running from something, or someone. My breath hitched as I took in the sight of him, disheveled and unfamiliar. This wasn't the man I had loved for 7 years. This was a stranger. What are you doing here? His voice was hoarse, as if he hadn't spoken in days. What am I doing here? I repeated, my voice shaking. What are you doing here, Adam? You disappeared. You left me. You sent a text, Adam. And then I find out you haven't been going to work for weeks? What the hell is going on? His gaze darted behind him, as if checking to see if someone else was there. He hesitated, gripping the doorframe so tightly his knuckles turned white. You need to leave, MIA. Now. A wave of cold dread washed over me. No, I said firmly, stepping closer. Not until you tell me the truth. What is this place? Who? Then, I saw her. A woman stepped into view behind him. Young, with long dark hair, her expression unreadable. She wore an oversized sweater, her arms wrapped around her waist protectively. My stomach dropped. You left me for her. The words barely made it past my lips. Adam's eyes widened in alarm, and he shook his head. No, MIA, it's not what you think. Then what is it? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you threw away our marriage for. She's my sister, MIA. The air seemed to be sucked from my lungs. What? The woman, his sister, gave me a nervous glance before turning back toward Adam. You need to tell her. She deserves to know. Adam exhaled shakily, his entire body tensing. MIA. I didn't leave you because I stopped loving you. I left because I had to. I swallowed hard, my hands trembling. Had to? What does that even mean? Adam looked down at his feet, guilt heavy in his posture. Because if I stayed, you would have been in danger. The words sent a sharp spike of fear through me. Danger? From who? His jaw clenched, and for the first time, I saw real terror in his eyes. From them. Before I could demand answers, a loud crash came from inside the house. The sound of breaking glass. A muffled curse. My heart leapt into my throat. Adam's sister's face turned ghostly white. They found us. Adam grabbed my wrist and yanked me inside just as the front window shattered into a million pieces. Glass rained down as Adam shoved me toward the back of the house. My pulse pounded in my ears, my mind struggling to make sense of the chaos unraveling around me. "Who are they?" I demanded, my voice raw with panic. Adam was already bolting the back door. His sister scrambled to grab a bag stashed behind the couch. "There's no time to explain. We have to go, now." But I was done running in the dark. I grabbed Adam's arm and yanked him toward me. "Tell me the truth. Right now." His face twisted with hesitation, but then, another crash. The front door burst open, and heavy footsteps pounded against the hardwood floor. Adam cursed under his breath. "I used to work for someone dangerous. I thought I could leave, but they don't let people walk away. I cut ties, but they found out about you, MIA. That's why I left, because if I stayed, they would have used you to get to me." My blood ran cold. "And your sister? She was the only person I could trust. She's been helping me hide." A shadow moved in the hallway. Adam shoved me behind him as a figure stepped into view. A tall man in a dark suit. Expression unreadable. Eyes like ice. "You should have run farther, Adam." Adam squared his shoulders. "It's over. Let her go." The man smirked. "That's not how this works. You know that." In a blur, Adam lunged, but the gunshot rang out before he could reach him. The world seemed to slow as Adam crumpled to the floor, blood spreading across his shirt. A scream tore from my throat. I dropped to my knees beside him, shaking. "Adam, no." His fingers found mine, squeezing weakly. "Run, MIA." The man took a step closer. "Your turn." But I wasn't going to die here. Not like this. With a cry of pure rage and fear, I grabbed the lamp from the table and swung with all my strength. It shattered against his skull, and he stumbled back with a groan. Adrenaline surged through me, and I didn't wait. I ran. I ran past Adam's sister, who screamed my name. I ran out the back door, through the cold night air, my breath coming in gasps. I ran until my lungs burned, until my legs nearly gave out beneath me. And I didn't stop. Not even when I heard another gunshot behind me. Not even when I realized I might never know the full truth. Not even when I knew my life would never be the same again.